So we just got done watching the G1 Climax 28 special. They called it like 3 different things during the night. It actually sounds more like something you'd find on Pornhub, but it was actually just New Japan's latest pay-per-view, which they did in the Cow Palace. And was it San Francisco, I think?
San Francisco.
San Francisco, yeah. Yeah, I was actually somewhat paying attention to that, mainly because I couldn't figure out what the hell to call the damn show. Anyway, so last time we did the Royal Rumble and we tried to do every entrant. That did not go so well, so we're going to try to be a little less specific and more psychotic this time. I think it's better. So I'm your host, Behemoth, and your co-host is Little Red Machine. And tonight, this episode is dedicated to my buddy Jose. And we're just going to go on and get on with the show. So, our first match to open the show was Roppongi 3.0, which is Rocky Romero, Sho, and Yo. And they teamed with Gato and Yoshihashi, which originally I put 2 other guys because they talked so fast I couldn't tell what the hell was going on. And they were facing off against the Bullet Club, 5 different dudes, Tama Tonga, Tonga Loa, Chase Owens, King Haku, yes, that Haku, and Yoshida. Or is it? Oh, Yujiro. Sorry, can't even read my own damn writing.
Chase Owens.
I said Chase Owens.
Okay.
But that's okay, because half the time I don't remember what I say. But anyway, I have a note down here that I wanted to point out that when Haku-san was coming down to the ring, his scream was about as intimidating as Brock Lesnar. Something along that lines. But, yeah, it was less than intimidating. It was just a decent opener. There was one really weird spot on the pile driver where the referee counted really slow, like he was checking on the other wrestler. It's kind of hard to tell what was going on there, like he forgot what the hell he was doing. And they had a long heat segment on Rocky Romero, and it was... The thing about Rocky Romero is that he looks really fake. And that's the only thing that really brought down the match, because the rest of it was all fine. Even Haku, as old as he is, was good. He was just beating the crap out of people. He even whipped out the Tongan death grip. That's what it's called, which is a nerve hold. And then he after he hit that, his son won the match with an ace crusher, or an RKO if you prefer. So I gave it 2.5 stars. I thought it was an average, decent opener. And I'd just like to add that Rocky Romero sucks. What do you think? Anything I missed on that one?
Didn't miss a thing. It was a pretty good match. It moved pretty fast. Some talented men. Then you got Rocky Romero. What more can I say? He stinks. There's nothing redeeming about him. He's not a good wrestler.
At least he doesn't wear the eye patch anymore.
That's about the only thing. But he doesn't look that great. His moves are fake. He's overly dramatic.
God, yes.
Just nothing great about him.
I'd just like to let everybody know that chocolate milk and cough drops are not a great combination. So if you're planning on doing that, don't. But anyway, let's move on to the next match, because this one was pretty good outside of the fact that Toru Yano was in it, and he really stood out from the other 3 guys who were all pretty good. So anyway, it was another tag team match. This time it was Tomohiro Ishii and Toru Yano versus Minoru Suzuki and Zack Sabre Jr. My only real complaint about this match, other than Toru Yano, who is just a comedy guy in the middle of 3 pretty much badass wrestlers, is that I couldn't tell who the heels and the faces were. So, because really both of them were kind of heelish in a way. Ishii, the Stone Pitbull, is just a badass who beats the hell out of people. Toru Yano spent most of the match either cheating or running like a coward. And Minoru Suzuki always wrestles like a heel from what I've seen. I've only seen him a couple of times. And Zack Sabre Jr. was taunting the crowd pretty much the entire match. So I was real confused about who you're supposed to root for. I mean, that doesn't really bother me, but I imagine if another fan was watching their pay-per-view and this was their first New Japan wrestling, they'd be like, what the hell's going on? But that said, the match was good. The best parts were when Ishii and Suzuki were in there. They just beat the piss out of each other.
I don't think they were interested in winning a match. They just were interested in beating the hell out of each other. I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's why it was fun. I was like, get the old guys in there. They're killing each other. And Sabre was good. He put on a lot of different submissions that I haven't seen before. And at the end of the match, Ishii killed Sabre. I can't read my writing. And got it. He killed Sabre with a clothesline, and Yano rolled him up and pinned him. And then after the match, Suzuki and Sabre murdered the Young Boys. That's the guys who basically are the ring crew for New Japan, for any of you who don't watch regularly. My voice sounds like a frog had sex with a razor blade.
Well, at least you have a voice. Could be worse.
That might not be a good thing, depending on who you ask.
I don't know, man. Sometimes it sounds better than some of the ring announcers we get, so I think it's fine. I hate that dude. He sucks. Yeah, he sounds like somebody's killing him.
Yeah.
The only thing you didn't say about match 2 is the part about not being able to tell who was the good guy and who was the bad guy, because they all cheated and they all cheated well. It was interesting, gouging each other's eyes out. You know, the old school shit. Mm-hmm. It was great. But again, you'd be confused as who was supposed to be the face and who was supposed to be the bad guy, because they were all cheating. It was awesome.
Yeah. Okay. I think we've said enough on that one. So we're going to keep going. So the next match was their third straight tag match, which was the best match of the evening to this point, which was Marty Scurll and Hangman Page. That is a discount James Storm for the Bullet Club versus Tanahashi and the Kushida. Obviously, I was rooting for Tanahashi and Kushida, in part because I'm so sick of the Bullet Club from years of watching Ring of Honor, and in part because Adam Page is annoying and Scurll has such an irritating gimmick. Good wrestler, but anyway, I'm rambling again, so let me just get on with it. We started off the match with some really good mat wrestling between Scurll and Kushida. And Scurll and Page did work well together, even though they both get on my nerves, sometimes to an extreme degree. And Tanahashi and Kushida are both awesome. Kushida's just so ridiculously fast, and Tanahashi's been doing this so long. He's really good at it. And they both had amazing outfits, which I know you made a note while we were watching it. We need to talk about the outfits. So go ahead, talk about the outfits.
They're bright and colorful. They draw your attention. They kind of give you an idea what their personality is and their style is in life. They're just awesome to watch in the outfits and in the way they perform.
Tanahashi's was, I believe, was red and yellow, like a kind of a beige, and it had all these little marks. It was like super straight out of like an 80s like Ultraman show. It was great. And Kushida always dresses really bright and colorful. He calls himself the Time Splitter. Presumably because he moves
even had his name on his...
Yeah, I did have Time Splitter on there. And it's so... I assume that's because he's so fast that it feels like he's breaking time. But I don't honestly know, because I've not watched a whole lot of New Japan. I've seen him a few times in ROH. I think that was back when he was wrestling for Pro Wrestling Noah, but I may be wrong on that. At any rate, the end of the match was Page winning with a rite of passage, or at least that's what he called it in Ring of Honor. They may call it something now, different in New Japan, but it's basically just a weird reverse pile driver. That's the best way I can describe it. Like, he's got the guy up for what looks like an Alabama slam and just drops him back on his head. But pretty good match. Best match of the show to this point. But it got better. Immediately, actually. Immediately, the next match got better. You got anything to add to this one, or you... Okay.
Not a thing.
All right, match 4 was Hiroki Goto versus Jeff Cobb, and for the never open weight title. No idea what that means. Never explained what never open weight means. So, but anyway, Goto I've seen before. He's always been pretty good. He had that really good hair versus hair match with Suzuki the last Japan show I watched. And Jeff Cobb, for anyone who watches Lucha Underground, also was Matanza Cueto. Amazingly, the man is 36 years old, but he looks like he's like in his early 20s. Does not age, except for his gut. That's the only thing that I see that looks older, but he was amazing in this match.
The thing about his gut, though, is there's no flab there. It was like hard, like rock.
I didn't spend a whole lot of time examining it. So
no, when he would hit him, and move, there's no movement. It was like all muscle. Really weird.
Maybe he puts his beers there and just curls them up to his mouth.
It could be. You didn't mention about Goto's music. He has some really badass ring music.
Probably the best music of the night. Mm-hmm. Although I gotta give some props to Kenny Omega for music for being a redo of One Winged Angel. Awesome Final Fantasy VII music. Anyway, let's see. So Goto played the heel for a lot of the match, mainly because the crowd was so behind Cobb, which I could see why, because the guy's really good. And he was suplexing and throwing around Goto like he weighed nothing. And actually, to be honest, Goto picked him up and gave him a suplex, and Cobb is like close to 300 pounds. So it was pretty impressive watching them both throw each other around for the whole match. In the end, Goto won with what they call the GTR. I don't know what that stands for. I feel like this match could have gone another 10 minutes, and I would have enjoyed it even more. But honestly, it was probably my favorite match on the card all the way through this night.
Mm-hmm.
And that's saying something because, I mean,
there's some really talented performers.
There were a lot of good matches on the show. I feel like there was only one terrible match, and we'll talk about that later. You got anything to add on this one? What did you think of watching Cobb fling people around?
He was amazing.
He didn't wrestle the same as he did as Matanza.
No. Much faster, more methodical.
No, methodical means he's slower.
I'm not methodical. What am I looking at? He's more focused.
Oh, okay.
More focused.
Yeah, methodical is wrestling for this guy's slow as fuck. But yeah, Cobb was real good in this. Whereas Matanza kind of wrestled like an old school Undertaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in a
real slow, never sold anything, and just beat the piss out of
people. So
people.
much better this time.
Yeah, he was really good just wrestling as himself. Okay, so that was the end of that one, and we moved on to our next match. My absolute favorite tag team of all time, the Young Bucks, and I say that with complete sarcasm. But they're the tag team champions in IWGP, and they were facing the guys they beat for the title, which is Evil and Sonata. And I like Evil. He's always been fun to watch. And Sonata, I remember watching in TNA way back in the day. But I only wrote about 2 lines for this match, which is typical Young Bucks match with a little more selling. Bucks win with the Indie Taker, which is a springboard tombstone. I am not a Young Bucks fan. Anyone who's ever seen me, heard me, knows that I like the Young Bucks only slightly more than I like Genital Itch. And it's not because they aren't athletic. They're really good choreographers, but there's usually no selling in their matches, and it looks so fake. It looks faker than Pam Anderson's breasts. That's probably a really old reference for anyone who's watching this who's under 30, but the rest of you will get it. You got anything to add? You want to bury the Young Bucks some more?
Well, let's face it. They have nothing that's originally theirs. They've stolen from every team that's ever been in wrestling, it appears, and they have nothing of their own. Even their outfits, come on.
It looked like a Macho Man Randy Savage mixed with the Rockers.
That's it. So,
and they do the Suck It's, like from DX, and the 2 Sweets from the NWO, and they have those big, fake, phony smiles that look like they're a mega church pastor or something.
Everything with them is rehearsed. I don't think either one of them has an actual emotion of their own. It's all choreographed, including their facial expressions. It's really sad.
The sickening smiles. But I can't deny they weren't quite as didn't get quite as big an ovation as usual tonight, but still a pretty big one. And of course they won the match because that was a foregone conclusion.
Because they're the young folks.
Yeah, and all the young fans like to do whatever. I mean, I'm going to use a Cornette's phrase. They like to jerk off watching the Young Bucks matches. No offense if you do like to jerk off to the Young Bucks matches. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that's just the way I see it. I know how old people felt watching DX now because I feel the same way watching the Young Bucks. So.
That's not to say the guys aren't athletic.
No,
they're
really
very athletic. They're just so fake.
It is not my style of wrestling. I don't like that kind of style. I guess I'm not quite to the point of old grizzled grump, but I'm too far. I like fast paced that still looks like it could possibly somewhat happen in reality. And that's not what I see from the Young Bucks. So
enough said on those little devils.
I like burying them. Come on, don't take away my fun. Okay, if you think we're done burying them, then they teased that we were going to get Jay White versus Juice Robinson, which
isn't a good thing.
No,
either.
I really was hoping that somehow the feed would just kick off and we wouldn't have to see that match. That's what I hope happened, but in reality, we just went to the next match, which was Naito and Bushi versus Will Ospreay and Okada. I love Naito because he is an arrogant little prick. And he shows it. He's always taunting and showing up the other wrestlers. I love watching him. It's great. And for the first part of the match, that's exactly what happened here. Mm-hmm. He was relentlessly screwing with Okada, the former New Japan World Champion. And those two work awesome together. We watched them last time.
They're great.
In their match they had. They started slow and then they just went into straight awesomeness. In this match, they just skipped the slow part and were awesome right off the bat. When we got Bushi and Ospreay in there, it was the high flyers. And Okada and Naito mixed a lot of stuff together. Lots of great reversals and counter wrestling. It was a real fun match. And at the end, Ospreay won with a strange-looking spinning neck breaker on Bushi. And I don't know what to call it. Even the announcers didn't know what to call it. Oh, we haven't talked about the announcers. What do you think of Barnett and Ross together?
I think Barnett's kind of dull.
A little, but he wasn't.
But he did throw some zingers out there.
He knew what he was doing, though.
Yeah.
So.
And he was talking about the matches, not some bullshit that nobody wanted to hear when the match was going on.
Do you want the WWE app? Wow, that was great, Michael.
Yeah, my point.
Or just Cole just ranting about something that no one cared about, or burying the Heat faces, or God, the Ring of Honor commentary where they talk about everything else and they're as boring as humanly possible.
True. The one thing you didn't say about Naito that's really important is he kind of gives you a glimpse of old school bad dudes in wrestling. He's got a lot of psychology going on. He screws with the wrestlers as well as the fans, all at the same time.
And the fans love it.
Yeah, they love him. That's what they like about him. Because he is a smart ass, and they love it.
He gets a huge reaction from the fans.
He's very, very entertaining. And Okada, what can I say? He's fast, he's smooth. He's very much perfectionist
You did point
in his
out
craft.
one thing. His outfits were massively toned down since the last time we saw him.
Yeah.
I miss the gold.
I do too.
I like the gold.
But of course, you have to remember that the last time we saw him, he was the champ.
He was the longest running champion in New Japan history.
So now he's just one of the regular wrestlers, so he's toned it down a lot.
And it's a shame.
And it is a shame, but God, he's good. He's awesome to watch.
Yeah, so this match was really good. I didn't even write a rating, but I just enjoyed the hell out of it. But our next match was really good up until a point. You know what point I'm talking about.
Oh, God, yeah.
But it was the light heavyweight champion, Hiromu, with his kitty. I think they said his name was Daryl Jr. He named his stuffed animal, which I guess I'm not the only adult who names their stuffed animals, so that's a positive. And he was taking on Dragon Lee, who we've seen in Lucha Underground before.
The kitty is a nod to his daughter.
Oh,
that's.
okay.
I thought that was kind of. Yeah, that's what they said.
I
thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay, so kitty, daughter, got it. So this was an awesome match. It was not a. If you like psychology, you probably wouldn't like this as much, but it was a different style of match. Insane high flying, to the point where sometimes it was hard to tell exactly what they did because they went so damn fast.
So fast.
I enjoy this
smooth.
kind of match.
Yes.
Because it didn't, even though it was lots of high flying, there wasn't a whole lot of fake stuff. But it was really fast paced and a whole lot of fun. The only problem was Dragon Lee at one point countered a suplex and actually broke Hiromu's neck. And by that I mean his vertebrae. It's not like he's paralyzed for life, but he kept wrestling. Hiromu wrestled for another maybe 2 minutes, before he won with his finisher, the time bomb. But he dropped him right on his head. Lee dropped him right on his head with that reversal to the suplex, and it just was gruesome to watch.
You knew when he hit that mat that he hurt himself. It was just horrible.
It was brutal.
But the match was great. They're both fast. They're smooth. They're just fun to watch.
It was my second favorite match in the show, only to what was it? The other one? It was Cobb, and that match was really good. But you got anything else you want to add to that one?
Just their clothes. They both had some very interesting.
I think next time we do this, you need to just strike down the coolest outfits. We should have like a best outfit of the night award or something.
I don't know. I think it was Hiromu. I think his was very interesting. His pants were designed, if anybody's ever seen Johnny Nitro, John Morrison, what's the other name? Johnny Mundo.
Yeah, Johnny Mundo.
There's one more, and I can't remember what the.
He's gone by Johnny Blaze, Johnny
That's
Nitro.
It. That's the one I was looking for, Johnny Blaze.
John Morrison, Johnny Mundo.
The way his pants were, the design was the same design as the one that this wrestler had.
And by design, you mean that it had like the fur at the bottom, and then the material was the same.
Yeah, but of course the print was totally different.
Yeah.
It was real flamboyant. It was just really cool.
Yeah,
it's kind of interesting. But most of the luchadores carry that kind of that bright, flamboyant material, so it was really fun.
Yeah. Oh, and then we had this match for the U.S. Championship, which is apparently a new title in Japan, in New Japan. Our favorite wrestler, Jay White, versus Juice Robinson, who, if I remember right, is the guy who had the towel in WWE. I think that's him. But they had a promo package before the show, which is just stunning. So we got Jay White with his thick New Zealand accent, which is fine, but he was okay. I like the idea of his character, but I just feel like he's dull as pale toast. And then you've got Juice Robinson, who is trying to make up for the fact that he doesn't really have a lot of fire by cursing a lot and talking about eagles flying out of his ass.
Oh, don't forget the sparklers flying from his nipples.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I know I've heard that line before. I swear Derek Bateman said something like that in NXT. That's Derek, what was it? EC3.
EC3.
Yeah, but I remember him as he was Derek Bateman at the time. But this was the worst match on the show. And not even close, as far as I'm concerned. There was some heat for White because the crowd hated his guts. But I hate him for a different reason. I think he's terribly boring.
He's very boring. He's got they both have a shitty gimmick. Jay White has a very annoying persona, and he's probably one of the dirtiest looking people I've ever seen. The hair probably hasn't been washed in 3 months, it looks like.
I think he goes to the Adams Cole Beauty School.
I think so. I think they're running a real close tie there on whose hair is dirtier.
Yeah.
And then he spends 3/4 of his damn match flipping his damn hair.
What was the count?
62.
That is our official Jay White hair flip count. Between him with his hands and also just straight up flipping it back 62 times in that match. This is the official count. Absolutely 100% totally accurate. Maybe. But
I have to say maybe because I was so damn bored.
This was the only match I watched where throughout the match I'm just like, oh please let this match end. And there was I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. I'm gonna read off my notes. Oh, the outfits. Juice looks like he dressed from Goodwill. Jay White stole Brutus Beefcake's outfits.
That's it.
Sum
it up. That's it.
They were almost the entirety of the match was outside, to the point where even Jim Ross was complaining about it. And they actually tried to start an angle between Barnett, the announcer, and Jay White, which I don't know if Barnett's any good because I've not seen him in his actual wrestling, but it can't be any worse than this match. And I think they spent the match outside because they really don't wrestle that well, so they just had to try to add some spice to it. Basically, they just broke all the guardrails. And
actually, I think they did it to keep the audience awake with the noise because their wrestling really sucked.
I mean, they were booing Jay White. That is true, sucked. But I just couldn't find anything to enjoy in this. Maybe it's just us, but I've never seen anything out of Jay White to really enjoy.
You see, maybe our issue with Jay White is that we saw him before in ROH. Was it in ROH?
Yeah, it was ROH.
And he was so bad in ROH, and they kept shoving him down people's throats.
To be fair, at least he's not botching all his moves now. But
that's true. He still sucks, though.
Yeah,
he has no personality, no fire, no passion.
I think his gimmick would be good with somebody else, honestly. But Switchblade, and he has he's supposed to be some creepy guy who likes to hurt people. That's worked many times in wrestling.
Well, part of the problem is you need a guy that looks tough and badass. Give that angle to Christopher Daniels and see if he doesn't scare the shit out of you.
He kind of was with Fallen Angel. That's not that.
That's my point, though. Is this guy looks like a little cream puff? Yeah. He's spewing lines. He's got that.
He's got severe dirt face.
That's it.
Where it looks like he's just doesn't know what the hell's going on.
Yeah, he doesn't know where he is, who he is, or what the hell's happening.
And then we got the Bullet Club leadership match.
Oh
basically.
Gosh.
I didn't hate this as much as you did.
Well,
I didn't even hate it. I just thought it was okay. It was Kenny Omega versus Cody Rhodes. I've never really seen a whole lot in Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega I only saw a few times in Ring of Honor, and they were lower card matches and not a big deal. And this match was good but not great. And there were some parts that were boring, which I know you were bored in several parts of this.
I still want to know what the hell's with the teddy bear.
Oh yeah, the teddy bear. Jim Ross called it his business bear. Like the guy. What we're talking about is when Cody came out, he had his wife on one side of him and a guy with a teddy bear head, like a mascot outfit, on the other. And none didn't make any sense. He walks out there and then he gets up on like a chariot carried by 4 people. He didn't come out in the chariot. He walked out there, sat in the seat, then they picked him up and went down the aisle, which is really weird. It just didn't look right. And Omega just came out there like normal. But I feel like this match would have been better if they'd have just ended it a little bit sooner. Like about 2 or 3 extra minutes maybe. After they did this huge superplex off the top of a ladder. If they'd have just like had a couple of reversals and a finisher right there, it would have been I thought it would have been a much better match. It still wasn't bad. They did some cool stuff with the tables. They had a good story going in with Cody trying to usurp Omega as the head of the Bullet Club. The Young Bucks were involved. Like, didn't really get involved physically, but they were trying to talk the other guys down from really killing each other. So, story-wise was good. Wrestling was all right. Some innovative stuff with the weapons, and Cody basically was playing the heel through this match.
I will give him dibs that he actually did some of the old stuff, the eye gouging.
The kicking the rope into Kenny's junk.
Yeah, so it kind of gave it a better feel.
Yeah, so it was better than I expected. And I was at one point they teased doing the superplex off the ladder outside of the ring through a table, and I'm like, and the crowd started chanting, "Please don't die."
And the Young Bucks were telling him, "Please don't do this."
So they did it inside the ring, which was still ridiculous, but not totally suicidal.
At least you didn't have to worry about them breaking their neck.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Even the guys I don't want to see them kill themselves or each other. But at the end, Omega hit the one-winged angel and pinned Cody clean in the middle of the ring. And we had a long, long aftermatch where they shook hands and everything looked like it was okay. And then the Haku and his 2 sons came out there and they all like had a group hug. And then Haku and his sons beat the crap out of all the entire rest of the Bullet Club.
And the whole time they're ringing the damn bell.
Oh, God. Yeah, even the announcers point out that maybe they're angry because they never stop ringing the bell.
It's like, this isn't a match, you moron. What the hell are you ringing the bell for?
Yeah, I mean, I could understand doing it a little bit, to try to say, hey, get out of the ring or something, but they just kept going. And
Man, I was screaming for him to take that bell and hit him upside the damn head.
Yeah, they made a tease like Cody was going to come out there and be the head of they called them, what was it? The firing squad is what they said. The firing squad part of the Bullet Club, which was Haku and his 2 sons. But then Cody's actually, they basically did a double swerve. First, it looked like Cody was going to betray him, and then he hit the Tongans with the chair, and then he got his ass kicked too. So basically, Haku, who's in his 50s, and his 2 sons beat up like 6 other members of the Bullet Club by themselves. And they beat him, and they beat him, and they beat him, and they beat him, and then they beat him some more. And finally, after a 4-hour beating, it wasn't really, but it felt like it, they ended the show with the Bullet Club picking up their broken corpses, walking to the back. Overall, I thought the show was pretty good. I don't think there was any truly exceptional match, but everything was good except for the White Robinson snooze fest. I was at the end of that one, and actually about 10 minutes before the end of that one, I was like, please end this match. For God's sakes, end this match. But everything else was pretty good, and I enjoyed the pay-per-view. Most of the New Japan guys were real talented. I gave every match average or above rating except for White and Robinson. And I'd recommend picking it up. I don't think it's worth like $50, but if you can buy a DVD of it for $10 or $15, I'd definitely watch it. I definitely recommend watching it. What do you think?
I do too. I'm going to say that I know the main event was Cody and Omega, but to me the main event, the match that was better than all the rest to me was Cobb and Goto. Yeah, I thought they were excellent.
That was the most fun for me, too.
It was fun. It was fast. There was some psychology going on.
Good selling.
Good selling. Both the performers
went
all the way out.
We love suplexes.
And it was amazing to watch Goto pick this huge mammoth of a man up.
Because Goto's like 5'8", probably.
Right. He's a normal-sized man that looks well-built. He's not a big Hercules-looking guy. No, but he picked him up without any problem whatsoever.
Not at all. He's like, 300-pound guy, no biggie.
Yeah.
And they said 265, but Cobb does not look 265.
No.
He looks closer to 300.
Yeah, he's a big boy. I mean, he's not that tall, but God, he's like a brick wall.
Yeah, and he moves like a really fast.
Yeah, so it's a real fun pay-per-view.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the next one. We'll try to come back real soon with another New Japan review. I haven't decided if we're going back to do the Rumble or not yet, but we'll see. Obviously, we'll do it differently this next time. But anyway, so I hope you all enjoyed listening. You want to take us out?
Take us out. See you next time. Take care and watch some wrestling.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe. And if you really, really like it, give us some money. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, take care.